Okay, so at this particular time of the day, halfway through the first day of the 3-day weekend, and I want to talk about the deliverables that are going to be due on November 30th. We're going to do this out of order, actually. I'm going to take a look at the syllabus right now and refresh my memory. I believe we have 2 more assignments that are due, number 4 and number 5, that are going to be due on November 30th. I got rid of the in-class exercises. So what you're going to be doing today is working towards those assignments that are due on the 30th. I just want to double check the dates though first. So yes, number 4, number 5, and the CSLO essay are going to be due on the 30th. So let me talk about the CSLO essay for a few minutes. But before I do that, number 4 is on database normalization. And lecture number 6B is on database normalization. That's on tomorrow's agenda. So tomorrow we're going to talk about the normalization. This number 5 is a paper, and CSLO is a paper. So for number 5, oops, I have this wrong. Number 5 is the database normalization. Number 4 is the paper. Okay, so number 4 is comparing and contrasting the generations of databases. And the generations of databases you're going to be looking at are hierarchical, network, relational, and object-oriented databases. So you're going to research, which might require some internet access, and you should have internet access here. You're going to research a few topics. You're going to write what's called a research paper that's going to be 4 to 5 pages double-spaced. So that's really 2 to 4, 2 to 3, I guess, 6 pages. Well, divided by 2. So it's really, what, 2 pages? 2.5 pages of single space, if you're going to double space it. But that's actually not that much space, if you think about it. So you can provide a graphic illustration to demonstrate the concepts if you want, which means you can put together a chart that compares and contrasts these different types. The idea is to investigate and learn about the different types of databases, implementations and designs, and make sure you include the following. Well, what are you going to include? So, part number 1, provide a complete overview of the hierarchical network, relational, and object-oriented databases. There are object-oriented databases out there. Oracle is not one of them. Oracle is a relational database. So is MySQL, so is Informix, so is Microsoft Access. Those are all relational databases. So the idea of this particular assignment is to have you look outside of the box, because we have object-oriented databases out there. Some of them are open source. Don't talk about one in particular. See if you can get a survey of what's out there. So the research assignment is to see what's out there in terms of object-oriented databases. Also, you might not find too much on hierarchical network. If you look at the generations of databases, hierarchical networks came first, and then we had relational databases second, and then we have object orientation third. So this is really the hierarchy that you're looking at. Well, what is a hierarchical network? So file structure. So could you possibly say that the Windows Explorer is a hierarchical database? Storing things in a file system, and in the file system we have directories and folders, and inside of the folders we can have other folders and a hierarchy. And isn't it kind of a network altogether in terms of the global structure of the different folders that might reside on different drives and different systems? And then we can have A drive, B drive, C drive, and we're going to have all these things mixed together. That's a primitive hierarchical database, believe it or not, is the antique file system that's been around for years. There's other hierarchical structures out there as well. You don't have to go, you're not going to find too many, that's what I'm saying. If you want to base your focus on file structures, probably going to hit most of the hierarchical stuff. So if you're trying to do Google searches, you can type in hierarchical network databases, you're not going to find anything. So, or you may not, who knows. If you type in network file databases or file structure databases, you might find out a little bit more. Or hierarchical database versus structured object-oriented. If you type in object-oriented databases, you're probably going to find a lot, actually. You probably don't have to do any search at all on relational. You can probably answer most of that on that alone, on what you know already. So what are the various similarities and differences between these different types of systems? What makes the database design unique or different from another? You don't have to answer these questions. You're writing this in the form of a paper. So don't go, number one, number two. No. Put all this stuff together in a paper. And use a bibliography page at the end of the paper. Tell me what sources this stuff came out of. Quote, inside of the paper, don't plagiarize. This will be turned into turnitin.com, guaranteed. So will the CSLO. If you didn't write it yourself, you're not going to get any credit for it. And this time around, it's automated. So nobody in the administration even has to look at it. Instead, I was like, is the administration looking at me? So instead, what's going to end up happening is the system itself is going to come back and say, 0, 0, 0, 0. It saves me a lot of work because I don't even have to grade it at that point. I won't even reach it. Won't even reach it to me. It'll just come back with a report that says, oh, these guys are zeros. Okay, no problem. So here's the situation. Do not cut and paste. Don't go to Wikipedia, highlight the entire paragraph, cut, click into your Word document and paste. That's not called writing. That's called cut and pasting from internet sources. Don't do that. Instead, open up a Word document and practice your typing skills. That means you put your fingers on the keys of the keyboard, and you type words like, the hierarchical database structure consists of da-da-da-da-da. And it doesn't really matter if you write it yourself, you're going to get points for it. In fact, you'll probably get full points for it if you write it yourself. If you don't write it yourself, you're not going to get any credit for it. There's nothing I can do about it. It's out of my control. So just like last term, if you were here last term, don't do it. It's not worth it. Everyone's been warned many times. It's just going to happen over again, and you'll have to retake this class or another class. It's just going to delay your graduation. So it's better just to open it up. In fact, if you're bored tonight, if you're bored today for the next couple of hours, because we're going to have a little bit of a break here so you can start working on some of this stuff, open up Microsoft Word and just start typing, You can use quotes. If you do quotes, you want one sentence or two sentences. More than 2 or 3 sentences, it's no longer called quoting. So if you go to the internet and go to Wikipedia and you cut, I don't know, maybe 3 paragraphs, or just take 1 paragraph for that matter, and you put the paragraph in, and you put quotation marks at the beginning and the end of the paragraph, that's not quoting. That's cutting and pasting and putting quotes in. To quote, you say, according to Wikipedia, comma, quotation mark, hierarchy means file system, period, end of quotation mark. So you mix in what they said with what you said inside of quotation marks, and then you can provide the source at that point. If you didn't say according to Wikipedia, you can say, hierarchical databases are similar to file structures. And then you put an opening bracket, and you say 2012, comma, Hecker, close bracket, period, which is APA style, actually. You can use APA style, MLA, Little Brown Book, I don't know, MLA, what are the other ones out there? I don't know. Any style you want. If you don't know a style, go to apa.org. It's pretty easy to use the APA style. I'm sure that you guys are graduate students. I'm sure you've written papers before, like yourself. So that's what you need to do for this one. So let's see, all of the programming assignments need to be returned, whatever. You can read all that stuff. So. What else is in here? That's about it. Do not consult with others. This is an individual, not a group paper either. So even though you wrote it yourself, what ended up happening last time is we had 1 or 2 that were actually sort of written nicely by people, but then they were copied by everybody else. And somebody said it was like maybe the TAs or something that sent them out. I don't know. But, it's like, it doesn't matter. If you get it from a source outside of yourself, you're running the risk of it not being original. And if it's not original, that's where you're going to come up with the problem. We don't care who the originator was or who the copiers were or what TA did what. It's the fact that you turned it in, which is what the issue is. So hopefully after all that, everyone's going to get an A in this class, and we're not going to have any problems with plagiarism. So that is assignment number 4. The CSLO, let me talk about that one for a few minutes, must be on a database-related topic. Some of the issues that we've had with CSLOs in the past is they were on other topics that weren't associated with the course, like somebody wrote like a CSLO and turned it in for all of their classes. So make sure that the CSLO that you're turning in is not recycled from another class, and it is not something that you have submitted to all of your classes. Very similar but smaller than the last assignment. So the assignment number 4, which is the 3 to 4 page paper, requires you to do a very similar thing as this particular CSLO. This one's only 2 to 3 pages double spaced, so we're looking for a page or 2 pages. Not looking for a volume, but the information is a little bit more specific. So you're going to provide quotation marks, and you're going to reference 3 sources of information. Same thing for the paper that you're writing in assignment number 4, the writing paper. You don't have to use quotation marks in the paper. You don't have to provide any quotes at all. But I want you to do some research. And the only way I'm going to know that you've actually done any research is if you give me research sites, papers, URLs if you must use URLs. Try to put them in some like APA or MLA, some sort of a writing reference format. Do not use Wikipedia for anything. Wikipedia is an excluded source. It should be excluded for all academia. Wikipedia is not fact-checked. It is not correct. Just because it's on Wikipedia, some of the stuff is real. You run the risk of it not being real. There's a lot of people who love to go out there and change real stuff to not real stuff. Hoaxes, bad information. It's not a research. It's not made for academia. It's not a research source. So in your reference list, if you have Wikipedia, not only is Turnitin going to flag it, but if it makes it past that, and I look at it, I'm going to go to Wikipedia. That's not a valid reference. So you want to use peer-reviewed articles. You want to use anything you can find on the internet. When I mean by peer-reviewed articles, I mean something that showed up in a journal like ACM or IEEE or something. And we actually have access to the ITU library. If you don't want to use that, don't worry about it. You can do a lot of internet research. There's a lot of databases with research papers and things in it. There's a lot of websites that have published articles and things. Some of them are published illegally, but you don't have to worry about that. What you have to worry about is the source and the original source, and not use Wikipedia. So in terms of your topic selections, you're going to pick one of these topics. And here are your choices. You got 5 choices to choose from. There is no others category in this particular paper here, because what ends up happening when I had the other category, I got stuff, for a Java class on C++. I'm like, oh, it's a Java class. Well, give me a CSLO on C++. Because it had other topic of your choice. Technically, I guess they're right. But okay, so topic number 1. What are some of the social, ethical, administrative, and policy issues surrounding databases and their use? That one's if you don't like the technical stuff, you can talk about the social and ethical stuff. Question number 2, you describe how web databases are being used to provide business and applications and value and benefits. Third one, how to design a database application. Do not give me source code. Do not give me pages of output of program results or something like that. It's only 2 pages. You have to use an example of a business scenario and then explain the design steps and details, starting with the textual description, the application. You can give me, if you want, a small entity relationship diagram if you want, and then translate those into tables if you want to do that. Starting from a business description, if you want to go through that, you can, if you want. As long as the entire CSLO is not one entity relationship diagram, that's not appropriate. So, why use Oracle? What's meant by query optimization? This is actually kind of an interesting one. You can actually do query optimizations, query by example. There's all sorts of different things to tune, to fine-tune databases, and today's all been about database efficiency, so that kind of fits into some of the topics from today. But how to query optimization works, explain it in some detail, some query issues, patterns, scenarios, what are some concerns involving query optimization techniques, so like that. So this one, as well as the other 2 assignments, are due on November 30th at the end of the month. So we have 1, 2, 3 deliverables. We have the CSLO, we have assignment number 4 and assignment number 5. And so I figured this weekend we would spend our work time in class working on the assignments. Just getting these 3 done instead of having to do more stuff on top of that. So what we're going to do is kind of take, let's see, it's 3:41. We're going to explain what? Assignment number 5 I was going to wait and explain tomorrow because it's on database normalization. And I have a database normalization lecture that I'm going to go over that's going to explain the format. So if you're assignment number 5 is actually pretty easy. It takes maybe about half hour, 45 minutes to do, so you can kind of wait with that one, I think. Because number 5, and unless you want me to talk about normalization today, but I figured I'd break it up a little bit. So you have me talking for a while, and then you have some work that you can do, and then I talk again. That way you can stretch your legs and go to the bathroom and get coffee, and not have to feel like you're glued to a chair for 8 hours, kind of thing, which is kind of ridiculous. So yes, tomorrow we'll talk about number 5. That's a good question. Any other questions? No? Okay, so now there's the decision part. How long you guys want? We're going to go till 5:30 today. So we'll be done at 5:30. I know, not my rules. It's 4:30, 4:40, it's almost 4 o'clock, 5:30. Oh, let's just break right now and work on stuff. And then in another hour, let's say at 5 o'clock, I'll do some announcements. Because here's what I'm going to do. While you guys are doing your stuff, I'm going to take the solutions, I'm going to put them up for the assignments that you have just turned in. I'm going to take the solutions and put them on the LMS and make them sure that they're available for you. And then at 5 o'clock, I'll give you a status update on that. How's that? And maybe a short 15, 20-minute status update, and then we'll have another more work time, and then we'll get out of here by 5:30. Okay, that's the game plan. And I'm also available for question and answer and stuff like that.